Australia. My prediction is you're going to see my hand get raised. I want a finish. Like I said, I want to calculate. I want to get that. I really want to set a statement for that champ against someone like Islam. Go there and shock the world and shock them in devastating fashion, so that'll have people talking about it forever. That's what I want. I'm prepared to go 5 rounds of war, but I want that finish. Really looking forward to this fight. This is a big opportunity for me to really take over and really set my name in the history books and really, we talk about legacy. This is it.
Volkanovski will face Makhachev for the lightweight title at UFC 284 in Perth. He'll attempt to become the UFC's latest two-weight world champion, joining the ranks of Conor McGregor and Amanda Nunes. Volkanovski is the UFC's pound-for-pound #1 fighter entering his UFC 284 clash with Makhachev. However, a loss would likely give Makhachev that title, making the upcoming super fight even more intriguing. Volkanovski and Makhachev have both been dominant during their long win streaks. Both fighters have only lost once in their respective careers, with Makhachev suffering a knockout loss to Adriano Martins at UFC 192. Volkanovski feels he can be the second man to finish Makhachev devastatingly. Dana White responds to Islam Makhachev's comments about UFC 284 marketing. Islam Makhachev recently made headlines after sharing that he doesn't believe the UFC is doing a great job promoting his upcoming title defense against Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 284. UFC President Dana White has fired back at those claims, asserting that the lightweight champion doesn't know what he is talking about. During an appearance on the Jim Rome Show, the promotion's frontman was asked about Makhachev's comments. White responded, "First of all, he lives in Dagestan. What does he know about what's going on for the promotion of the fight? He doesn't know anything. So to say that the fight hasn't been promoted, that's just ridiculous. That's what you call some internet BS. Let's listen to the man himself."
First of all, I've talked to Islam. First of all, who interviewed him? Who translated for him? I mean, the guy speaks Russian. Taken out of context like most of the things in the media.
Dana White joining us. Wait, are you saying that he didn't say that, or you set him straight on that?
First of all, he lives in Dagestan. What does he know about what's going on for the promotion of the fight? He doesn't know anything. It's going to be one of the top 5 biggest fights of all time. First of all, the event's sold out, right? You couldn't get a ticket if you wanted to get a ticket in Perth, and this thing is trending right now to be the biggest pay-per-view event in Australia, which it's like 6% behind the Conor McGregor Poirier 3 fight. It's probably going to break the record. So to say that the fight hasn't been, it's just ridiculous.
All right, so
that's what you call some internet BS.
Alexander Volkanovski doesn't want Khabib Nurmagomedov's absence to be an excuse if he beats Islam Makhachev. Volkanovski, a sizable underdog going into the matchup, hopes that Nurmagomedov's absence doesn't take anything away from his potential victory on Saturday night. Being widely regarded as the smaller fighter going into UFC 284, the Great doesn't want to hear excuses about Nurmagomedov missing from Makhachev's corner when he wins. The UFC pound-for-pound king recently told ESPN's Brett Okamoto he's fought without Khabib. Obviously, having him here would have been incredible, but Islam proven that he's a great fighter. It's gonna be him in there, let's be real. It ain't gonna affect him one bit. So don't use that as an excuse this Sunday. Listen closely.
They'd use that as an excuse when I get my hand raised. You know what I mean? That's the type of guy I am. Like, you're saying all this, just remember that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he obviously is gonna turn up. I don't think he needs a Khabib. He's fought without Khabib. Obviously, having him here would have been incredible. Having Khabib here in Australia, and I guess it could have added to the story a little bit. But Islam's proven that he's a great fighter, and he doesn't need. It's going to be him in there. Let's be real. You know what I mean? So it ain't going to affect him one bit. So don't use that as an excuse this Sunday.
Islam Makhachev's predecessor and mentor Khabib will be missing from his corner as he recently cut all ties with the sport to spend time with his family. Conor McGregor fighting for the title is a given with victory over Michael Chandler, claims Michael Bisping. Conor McGregor is set to face Michael Chandler in his highly anticipated return to the octagon after the pair will coach opposing teams on season 31 of The Ultimate Fighter. UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping speculated that the former double champion will receive a title opportunity if he is able to defeat the number 5 ranked lightweight. Speaking on his YouTube channel, the UFC commentator stated, "If McGregor gets it done, will we see him fight for the title next? That is a given. That is 100%. Just prepare yourself mentally for that. Regardless of whatever you think, he's the biggest star in the sport. Take a look."
If McGregor gets it done, will we see him fighting for the belt next? That is a given. That is 100%. Just prepare yourself mentally for that. And regardless of whatever you think, he's the biggest star in the sport. He's a former 2-weight division champion, and he's a person that people want to see fight. So if he goes out there and he beats Michael Chandler, who's one of the top ranked lightweights on the planet, and he does it in exciting fashion, I'll be honest, I'd have no problem with him fighting for the belt.
Bisping further speculated that if the Notorious is unable to defeat the number 5 ranked lightweight, it could be the last time that he enters the octagon. Khamzat Chimaev slams Colby Covington for ducking him. Khamzat Chimaev has been calling for a bout with Colby Covington for nearly a year. The number 3 ranked welterweight recently slammed the number 2 ranked contender for refusing to fight him. Speaking to Red Corner MMA, Khamzat was asked about when you will enter the octagon next. He responded, "I have no clue either. At first, they said it was Colby Covington. We've been waiting for half a year. It looks like he doesn't want it. They all call me out, but as soon as the UFC tries to make the fight, they start running. Take a look."
Я сам не понятен. Уже сказали Колби Ковингтон, уже почти полгода ждем, что он ответит. Что не хочет он драться. Все меня вызывают, те, которые UFC со мной не вставляют, те, которые вставляют, те бегают, не знаю, что там происходит сейчас. Скорее всего, Леон Эдвардс и Усман подерется, тот, кто выиграет, с ним подерутся.
Wild Boars has not fought since UFC 279, which was nearly 5 months ago. Covington has not fought in nearly a year. He last entered the octagon at UFC 272. The number 2 ranked welterweight has been noticeably quiet despite being called out by several welterweight contenders. Jamahal Hill reveals conversation with ex-champ Jiri Prochazka at UFC PI. At UFC 283, Jamahal Hill and Glover Teixeira went head-to-head for the vacant lightweight championship title. It was left open after Jiri Prochazka was forced to withdraw from his scheduled fight against Teixeira at UFC 282 due to a shoulder injury. Following his championship victory, Hill and former champion Prochazka have been exchanging words on social media. The Czech fighter declared his intention to be Hill's first title challenger. Hill and Prochazka recently met for the first time when they unexpectedly encountered each other at the UFC Performance Institute. Appearing in a recent interview with the Schmo, the current UFC champion discussed his conversation with Denisa. Take a look.
So what was the conversation like with Jiri Prochazka when you ran into him today here at the UFC PI?
No, we just shook hands. He was like, "Hi, nice to meet you." I was like, "What's up, bro?" We just shook hands. He was doing physical therapy and stuff. He working to get back, and I can't wait for him to be back.
Alex Pereira has a message for those critical of his wrestling. The rise of Poatan has been pretty remarkable. After just 3 wins in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, he earned a shot at Israel Adesanya's crown. Then, at UFC 281, he took his opportunity and ran with it by knocking Stylebender out to become the new king at 185 pounds. Now, the UFC plans on running it back at UFC 287 in Miami this April. On that night, Pereira will get the chance to once again prove that he is the best middleweight in the game. However, some have still criticized Alex's wrestling and noted that it could be a target for Adesanya during the rematch. In a recent interview, Pereira hit back and made it known that he was able to take Israel down at MSG. Listen closely.
The people who talks about that is people that never really grapple with him, people that really train with him. There's other guys that come in and roll with him, grapple, do some MMA, and leave. very surprised and say, man, I didn't know he could grapple like that. But like you say, he's not trying to prove nothing to nobody, he's just doing his thing.
Is Pereira any good at wrestling? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. That's all for today's video. If you want to know the latest UFC news, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, and click the like button so you don't miss any details about the upcoming fights. Thanks for watching. See you soon.